Imagine that you visited a website and that website collected your IP address. You would say, that's a normal thing, every website does the same. But one bad thing happened here, and that thing is that website got hacked and your data had been breached. So, what about this? That means every information you provided to that website is now gone into the hacker's hand. That includes your IP address also. So, what can a person do with your IP address? Believe me, that if I got your IP address, then I can get access to your machine or your whole network running on that IP address. So the most important thing here is that you have to change your IP address or hide your real identity if you are going to visit a malicious website or an unsecure website. So the question is how to do that. How can you change your identity? How can you hide yourself? How can you remain anonymous while visiting the internet? So in this video we will be having a look at how to hide ourselves and change our real identity. But before actually starting this video, hit the subscribe button, like button, and also share with this video so that our community can grow further. In this video we will be having a look at these topics that you are seeing on my screen right now. So without any further delay, let's get started into this amazing tutorial. So guys, now you can see that this is my Kali machine here, and this machine is connected to a network. So guys, now you can see that I had opened my browser here, and what I'm going to do, what is my IP, okay, and hit enter, and you can see that this is my IP address right now. That means I am in a real world problem, because if you got my IP address, then you can get access to my device, and I don't want to do that. So guys, before actually starting to see how to hide ourselves, first we will be having a look at where did that IP address come from. So your ISP will provide you an IP address, and that IP address would allow you to use the internet. Okay, so what does that mean? That means if I got your IP address and you are performing a penetration testing and you exploited a person's device, but that person was another cybersecurity analysis, then what does happens? That will just check where did that malware came from, or where did that exploit came from. I'm writing here exp so that you can get an idea that this is an exploit. Okay, after reverse engineering on this exploit here, what happened? That person got your IP address. Okay, fine. So what happened there? So that person can either check your IP address, get your location, get all the things that an IP address can provide that person. And the other thing here that this person can do is this person can complain cyber security institute, and that institute would first check your IP address, and after that they will contact with this ISP and they would be present on your actual location. So this is the main thing here, that if you are performing any penetration testing task, first you have to hide your identity so that no one can get your information or actual location. Fine. So the disclaimer here, this video is just for educational purposes, and if you are using this video for hacking purpose, then use this as an ethical hacker, or first obtain permissions from your victim. Okay, now we had seen that we had to change an IP address, but aside ethical hacking, there are also some other conditions where we have to change our IP address. And here you can see that in this box here, this is my exact IP address that I had shown you in the starting of this video. So again, I'm blurring this and you would see that there is .113. Okay, fine. So what happens that a lot of people love to watch movies online, and that movies sometimes contain malicious codes that they will grab your IP address, and also they can grab your camera. So again, I'm telling you, you have to be very cautious about these attacks. So I'm limiting myself to this IP address here only. And in our future videos, we will be looking at how we can get someone's camera or someone audio by just sending that person a malicious link. Okay, fine. So enough talk about all these things. Now we need to done things practically. I am opening my terminal here. First thing first, you have to check if proxy chains are installed or available in your Linux machine. This package is installed by default in this Kali machine, but if you have problems or can't find this one, you can use sudo apt get install proxy chains and then your sudo password and all the things. Yes, and that will start installing you. Okay, fine. So first I'm going to tell you how to use this proxy chain. You have to use proxy chains and the name of the application you want to apply this proxy. For example, if I am using here Firefox, then you would see that here I got this page, and if I write here what is my IP, you would see that Firefox can't establish a connection to this server. Okay, fine. So let us see the terminal here, and it is saying that here strict chain, and this is our local host, and this is 9050 our port here. Okay, so that means our proxy chain is running. We have to configure this proxy chain to hide our identity. So I'm again opening paint here to show you what happened here. Let me remove them all. Okay, fine. So what happened here? Imagine that this is your PC. Okay, like that. And I'm writing here my PC. Okay, and it had a specific IP address. Okay, so these are the two main things here. So this is Firefox. So what happened when I connect to let me change its color. If I am going to a website, what happened that this my device sends an IP address and the address of the website. For example, in this case www.youtube.com. So what happened that this PC would send my IP address and the domain of the or IP address of the website to this Firefox. So this Firefox can check which device had sent me this request. Okay, but imagine that you have changed your IP address. Okay, I'm changing its color again, and believe me, this is a very amazing concept here. So I have changed my IP address here, as you can see in my Kali machine here. Okay, because when I am going to close this one, you can see that Firefox is automatically closed. So again I'm opening it, and here if I write what is my IP, you would see that I got the same results again. Let me open it again with proxy chain. Like that. Okay, fine. And you can see that behind proxy chain is running, and if I write here what is my IP, you would see that it is not connected to the internet. What is happening here? Let us see here. So this one, the above this line is a normal scenario, that my IP address would be given to Firefox and website name, and then Firefox would send that website to this IP address. Okay, I had changed my IP address, and if I'm going to send some request, I'm writing here changed IP. Okay, so it would try to send request to Firefox. So what happens that this IP address is not connected to the internet, or it is not provided by the ISP. So if we are not connected to the internet, then our request would not be proceeded or given to the Firefox. So that's the reason here we had changed our IP address, but we are unable to connect to the Firefox. So let us see how to make settings or modify our proxy chain so that we can change our IP address, and also we can connect to the internet at the same time. Okay, what we have to do, we have to configure proxy chain. So for that I'm just showing etc proxy, and you would see here proxychains.config file. Okay, what we have to do, this is the file that we have to modify for our own purposes. And if you are unable to find this config file, you have to use locate and proxy chains, and you would see a lot of paths here, and the one of them is this one, etc proxychains.config files nano proxychains.config. Okay, and you would see here uh, a lot of lines and lot of hashtags and blue lines here. One is this one, dynamic chain. One is this one, strict chain. Okay, fine. Okay, and the other one is round robin chain, random chain. Okay, so what we have to do, this is the example of how to create a proxy, and the three mandatory things are this one, the proxy name, IP address, and the port. Okay, so first we will have a look at what are the strict chain, dynamic chain, and random chain proxies here. So I'm going to open again Paint here. How actually a proxy chain work. So imagine this box as your personal computer, and there is another box here, you can say like there. Okay, fine. And there is another box here, and that box is the website or browser you are using. So what happened here, in our first scenario, this PC made contact with this Firefox server directly. So this Firefox server would got my IP address. Okay, but we won't be doing that. What we have to do in proxy chains, and this is the actual procedure the proxy chain works. So what happened, that I or my PC connects with this proxy chain server. Okay, so this is my IP, and this is the IP of the server, and this is the IP of the Firefox server. So I contacted with this server, and this server contacted with this Firefox. So instead of directly contacted, this Firefox would get the IP address of this server, so that Firefox would don't have any idea who is the person. Firefox would only know that this is the person who's contacted me. So what happened, this Firefox loop back and sent that document to my IP address, and when this server got the document, this will send that document to me. And this is the actual process how proxy chains work. So one more thing here, we had studied some things here like random chain, the strict chain, and the dynamic chain, but we also have to got an idea of what are these. So what happened that I am making things quick here. This is my PC. Okay, this is proxy chains PC number 1, and this is another proxy chains PC. This is another one, because we want to hide ourselves so that the other person can't see that. If I use a lot of, you can say, bridges between and platform or browser I want to access, then I would like to create a lot of bridges between me and that medium. Fine. In this list here, proxychains.conf, or simply proxychains.config, we pass it a lot of or you can say a list of IP addresses and port number. So one specific IP address means this server, the other specific IP address means this server, and the other one means this server. Okay, enough talk about this. One method is known as dynamic chaining. Okay, and what does this dynamic chain do? This dynamic chain will make connection with this one will make with this one will make with this one, and this one will make a connection with Firefox, and then this box would make connection with this one. So this Firefox would again connect with this one, this with this one, and this with this one, and then this would send me back the document that I requested. Fine. So what happens if this blue server goes down? We got a lot of problem, because we will connect with this one, but this one won't be able to connect with this one or directly with this one. Fine. So here comes the dynamic chaining. Let me remove some lines here. what happens that here. So this is the dynamic chain here. What happened is that if any of the servers goes down, imagine that this one had gone down, the proxy will change its direction. It will just make connection with this one or the next proxy here, and the remaining other proxies or connection would remain the same. But when it received document from Firefox, it would give that to me back. So our proxy would not stop working if any of the servers goes down. Fine. So here we use dynamic chaining. So again, back to our slides, but this time we are studying strict chaining. So the strict chaining here would work in the exact same manner. But if any one of them got offline, it won't have any connection with this one. So that means we won't be able to receive our documents back. So strict chaining is not very efficient, but yes, it is very good in some scenarios and in someone not. Okay, the random chaining here, you can see here its documentation that it would pick up a random proxy from a list of the IP addresses. Okay, so now what we have to do, for example, if I am going to use dynamic chaining here, what I have to do, I have to remove the hashtag here, and if I don't want to use anything, I put the hashtag in front of it, and this is the proxy that is using by default. I'm commenting it out also. Okay, so here is the thing how to make a proxy. We now got an idea how it works. Now let us see how does we make a proxy. You can say it is a proxy list, and it contains three important parts. One part is this one part is this one, and one part is this one. So there are SOC 5, SOC 4, HTTP, HTTPS. If we are going to create a proxy, what we have to use, for example, HTTPS proxy name. Okay, to get some IP addresses, you can use free proxy server list. And what I'm going to do, let me grab this one, paste it here. Its port is 60030. Let me copy that one and paste it here like that, and let us save it. So now it's time to test our proxy. What we have to do, we have to use Proxychains like that, and we got an error here, invalid item in proxy list section. Oh, so we have to use HTTP simple. We have used HTTPS. So I'm using here sudo nano. Nano is the file editor and the path to our proxy chain config file. So what we have to do, just go to the below one, and we will remove this S here and save it, and yes, and I'm running it, but we will got another error. We will first check it out. Proxychains Firefox. Now it is working fine, you can see that. And here you can see that this is the IP address that we had provided in our proxy list. And you can see that need more proxies, because dynamic means greater than one, more than one proxy. So if I go to what is my IP, yeah, it would take a lot time, because it depends upon the proxy speed. I'm closing it, and now I am again going to edit our configuration file. I'm opening Firefox again, and here I'm writing proxy list, and here you can see that we got there is another proxynova.com site here. Let me copy this whole part, proxy port and the proxy IP address, and paste it here, HTTP, and paste the clipboard. Okay, like that, fine. Let's get this one here. Our another is HTTP, paste here, fine, and let's save it and test again. So I'm going to clear it first, and then Proxychains Firefox, but we have to close our this Firefox and then hit again Proxychains, and let's see the results. I'm writing here what is my IP address, and if I go to this one, you would see that first we had connected to this proxy, and you can see that when this proxy didn't returned our website or web document, then it switched to another proxy here. and after that it switched to another proxy here, and you can see that it is saying here need more proxies. So what does that mean? That means it had opened or used all the proxies and they didn't work well. So what we have to do, you can see that our web page is still not loading right now, because that depends upon the proxy server. Fine, so you have to check out which proxy would suit best for you, and you have to provide a lot of list that if someone is not working, then you can use another one. So guys, in this way you can use proxy chain to change your IP address, but I don't think so that a very efficient way to hide yourself, because if you are using a paid proxy, then that would work fine and well, but for free proxies you have to search that which proxy is available and which would work for you. Enough for this tutorial. If you like this video, then hit the like button and subscribe button so that our community can grow. So guys, until our next video, stay tuned and don't forget to like our video, subscribe our channel and share with your friends. Goodbye.